We published an article recently. Can you explain how understanding keyword intent can improve my SEO results? And we focused on an area, how to group keywords by search intent. Robin's pulled this up.
Yeah, so this visualization shows GSC data coming in. So we can see a query for comparing employee health plans and a separate query for commuter benefits. And what's happening behind the scenes here is we can take all these queries and we can embed them into a vector space, and then we can start finding which embeddings are most similar to which other embeddings. If we think of it as like a two-dimensional plane, we can think of, okay, like this dot's up here and this dot's up here, so they're close. In reality, we use much larger dimensional spaces in order to capture the true differences of embedded meaning. But we can still use those spaces to find groups and say all these red dots map to a kind of a broader parent category about payroll processing and compliance. So if we look, the individual query is payroll solution for growing company. Another one is HR and payroll software, and that makes sense. And then in order to visualize this, we take that kind of large dimensional space and then reduce it down to this nice, simple 2D visualization. So we've lost some of the kind of context of what the embeddings actually are, but the math is still there behind the scenes, and we're able to show you the kind of similarities and differences between all individual GSC queries coming into your brand's website and the parent topics that they're associated with. And we name those parent topics by looking at all the individual queries and coming up with the title accordingly.
What's the difference between clustering by search intent, what you're showing here, versus grouping keywords by frequency or the actual word?
Okay, so I think there's two sides to that. One, compared to standard kind of keyword tools, we're able to find queries that don't share the same words but are ultimately related to the same meaning. So if we look over here, we can find one search query of drug testing requirements for hiring and another of legal requirements for job postings. And those have none of the same words in common, but they still can kind of fall into the same parent category. So we can find the meaning of what the topic is actually about. And then we're able to look at, of all those individual queries that bubble up into a topic, they have this impression data and this click data. So we can kind of aggregate those signals based off of the embedded meaning of the words and their similarities, rather than just do they share the exact same word. And then if we were to just group things by quantitative data that we have, and we're able to just say, let's just find the cluster of everything that has over 500 impressions and over 7 clicks, you'll get a list of keywords that are all going to be fairly distinct from each other. And it's going to be hard to kind of group those into one actionable blog post. So by being able to do it this way, we can say, all right, there's kind of a valuable parent category about employee onboarding processes because of all this constituent GSC data and the aggregate statistics.